Glitter is going everywhere. Hey friends, today I am sharing a fun summary card featuring Avery Elle's Pool Party along with a couple of dies from Fawn. To start off with my background, I'm using Yupo translucent paper along with alcohol inks and blending solution and blowing it around. My idea for this was just to create like the ocean using different colors of blue and teal for that dimension. So what I'm doing is I'm laying down one color, adding blending solution, and then using my air blower to push it around until it was almost dry. Then I'll go in with my second layer, and I just didn't want to mix it around too much because it usually turns into one color if you do. So that's why I kind of push it around until it's dry, and then I move on to my next. So I really like the textures of how it looks once it dries, and I just generally have had good luck with this translucent Yupo paper. Usually I use the Holtz paper packs of Yupo paper, and they're the ones that you can find at Michael's, any craft store. They come in a pack of 10. I think they're like sized at 5x7 or something like that. They're good, but I just am not always in love with how they come out, and I don't know if it's the paper or what, but I just happen to really love the panels that I've created using this version of the paper, and so I think I'm going to stick with it. So once I finish my ocean background, I move on to my beach background, and I'm just using yellow and a darker yellow, doing the same thing and moving it around. I did use brown in a test version, and it was just way too brown. It was too powerful. It didn't look like sand, and in general, this doesn't really look like sand, but against the blue, it actually turns out to be like really pretty. I was really happy with how this turned out. So I apologize in advance because I am using the Avery Elle Pool Party stamp set, and this stamp set is just not readily available anymore. I bought this maybe 2-3 years ago, and I just have had a hard time finding it to link. So I will link other stamp sets that are sort of similar. I have a few stamp sets in mind that do include floaties, but you definitely don't have to use sets that include floaties. You can use whatever else you want. You can use it with like fish sets, mermaids. The possibilities are endless. You could even use it with like ships and things like that. But I used this because I thought it was cute. I wanted to pull it out. I bought it so long ago, but I never used it. And so I feel like this is my sign or my little message from the crafty gods to be like, hey, use the stuff you're buying. So I will try to keep that in mind and use more of the sets that I'm buying personally to create with and share with you guys. So if you guys are interested in the products, you can actually find them. But I will, like I said, will leave links down below with similar items. And of course, you can just swap them out with other items if you want as well. So I'm just going to go in and color like I normally do, nothing too special. I will say that I do try to incorporate the same colors I'm using into aspects of the other images as well. So like I have teal and yellow for this girl and the pink and the flamingo floaty, and I'll use those same colors in the other images just to keep everything kind of cohesive. And I'm so bad at picking colors, and this is the way that I make it make sense for my images. Usually like I kind of just go rogue and I pick random colors because I'm just coloring however I feel like it, but once I put my card together it doesn't go. I try to keep that in mind when I create cards now. Also, if you don't like the coloring, I will try to remember to add the segment section so you can just skip ahead, because I colored this. I figured I would leave it in the video and you can watch it if you want to, and if you don't, you can move on to the next part, which is pretty cool too. But I do go over it pretty quickly because it's a card I've made before. It's a technique I've used before, and it's pretty simple. It's like really easy for like a faux interactive card. But this stamp set does remind me of summer and Hawaii because of the floaties. And I live in San Francisco. I never go to the ocean here. It's way too cold. Even on the hot days, the ocean is just cold. So I only go to the ocean when I'm in Hawaii or somewhere tropical. Hawaii is definitely a favorite, and I always love bringing floaties. So usually when I travel with my family, and we sometimes, most of the time, fly Southwest. So we try to leave one luggage that is strictly swim stuff. So our floaties, our snorkel gear, towels, all of that stuff. And yes, we bring our floaties. And honestly, they're relatively cheap at the ABC store, but we always bring them because we have them and we never use them unless we go to Hawaii. So we always bring them. Anyway, we have this huge floaty, which is a turtle, and you can like fully lay on it. And keep in mind, I am a short person. I am only 5 feet. My sister's 5 feet. My sister-in-law is like 5'2", but not much taller, but we all can just lay on it. And it's like a floaty that is for, I think, kids under 5 feet. So obviously breaking rules here, but whatever, it works. We haven't broken him. He works fine. His name is Franklin, and he's just so fun, but he's such a pain to blow up. So if you've been to Hawaii, you know that they have ABC stores everywhere, and you can go and blow up as many floaties as you want. It's super cheap. I think it's like $1 or something just to blow it up, which is super affordable because who's going to carry like a pump with you, right? Like you're just going to blow it up, and you're not going to carry floaties filled with air everywhere you go and back to your hotel room or whatever. And he's so huge that he can't fit in the trunk. So while we were going beach to beach, thankfully just down Waikiki, we would have to put him on top of the car and then roll our windows down, and there's 4 of us holding each of his arms or legs out the window. So we're holding him down because once you start driving, the wind is pushing him up. So we had to drive pretty slowly, and thankfully we're just going down Waikiki. But it would have been ridiculous for us to deflate him and then inflate him again just to go to another beach. So definitely we took him out like once. But it's still fun. It's all that matters. And okay, so back to the card. For the background itself, I pull out the Lawn Fawn Hillside Borders, and those are for hills, but I actually use them for everything. When I first started crafting, I actually purchased this set because I thought it would be really versatile. I can use it for waves, I can use it for hills. There are just so many ways to use them, and I can use them for like border edges as well. I wasn't really sure if I would card make for very long, but I wanted items I could use for like everything. And this is one that totally fit the bill, and it still fits the bill, and it's still available. So if you are starting to card make, or you just want something that you can use a lot, this is one of those sets. I die cut all the pieces together. I'm just kind of figuring out where I want to place it, and all my pieces will be held down by double-sided adhesive that I will put on my white panel. It will just be at the edge because I don't want to mess with the interactive element that's in the middle. So I just have double-sided adhesive on all 4 sides. So for the waves itself, I decided to be a little extra. I added glue on top of the water and added glitter, which kind of mimics the foam on the waves. I thought it'd be fun, and yes, I got glitter everywhere. Even days after, I found glitter in places that it shouldn't be, and that's the downfall of using glitter, but it is so pretty, and I don't really regret doing it. I probably feel bad for whoever I'm going to give it to because there's probably going to be glitter somewhere. For the rest of the panel, I'm going to add my second panel because this doesn't have the interactive element, and I had gone ahead and die cut these little circles. So I used the coordinating dies to one of the Lawn Fawn sets that just have a ton of circles, but you can use any circle die that you have in your collection. You just need a small circle. For the interactive element, you'll see that I hole punch a hole into my wave, and then I will be using these mini glue dots, and I'll place it onto my circle, and basically I'm putting that glue dot in between the hole punch hole and then putting my floaty on top, and that will allow enough space for movement. It's because you have the glue dot holding the little circle and the floaty together, and there's that hole in between which allows it to move. So I'm doing the same for my second floaty, and even though these dots are the mini glue dots, they're still a little bit too big, so I do trim them down just so they fit and they don't like kind of snag on the hole. You want the glue dot like completely through the hole and not touching any of the border, and then you want the floaty on top of it. That's what I'm kind of doing because it was just big. Like, mini glue dots aren't supposed to be big, but they are. And so once I got the size down right, I would put it together and sandwich it in. And for the sand, I forgot to add extra glitter to the sand as well because I wanted that dimension and I wanted that separation of the waves, because even though I had different textures and colors among the ocean, it still needed some separation. So I'm really glad I did this. Of course, I think you can even use like acrylic white paint and it would work, but I thought the glitter would just be a fun element. So once I'm done with that, I'm gonna trim down any overhanging pieces. And this panel is actually 4 inches by 5 1/4 because I was planning to mat it on light blue cardstock. And I stamped out my sentiment, and I'm going to glue down my remaining pieces. So I have the girl in the beach lounger at the bottom of my card, and then I have the umbrella, and then the two like floaty elements, which is the beach ball and the floating donut with the drink in the ocean as well. So it really fills up the scene. And even though my top left hand corner where the beach ball is looks kind of empty, the texture from the alcohol ink really fills up that space and gives it, some interest around there. So I think it's really cool. And although I don't love the white outline around my images, I think that it really works to help make these images stand out. And I didn't have the coordinating dies to this. I just cut it out with my scan and cut, which you can change the outline spacing. You can do no outline spacing, which is essentially fussy cutting, or you can do like a 0.04 and then you can increase as you see fit. I am starting to come around with that die cut outline. Anyway, so this card is put together, and then I decided to put some glossy accents on their sunglasses. And I don't show this in the video, but I actually forget that I put glossy accents on the glasses. I flip it over because I'm putting adhesive on the back of it to mat it onto my light blue cardstock, because remember, this was a little smaller than an A2 card panel, and it got all over. I had to wipe off my glass mat and then just mat it on and then redid the glossy accents. But it's really cool because it moves. And I'm so happy with this card. And yeah, it's just fun. So thank you for joining me for this video. And I can't wait to share my next card with you. Have a great day, and I will see you next time.